Right now, give me a grime walk right now.
Welcome to another episode of Jump Off TV UK's behind the scene debate show, where we like to come together and discuss, certain issues that are taking place within the UK urban music scene. Today, we're going to be debating about, dubstep versus grime, and what genre is the longer lasting genre, what genre has more longevity, what one started first of all, and I'm going to be posing a question whether grime artists are bigger than dubstep DJs. Obviously, this whole story came about with when Wiley, Plastician, Roscar, a lot of producers in the dubstep and grime scene had a little confrontation on Twitter last week. I'm gonna ask, what do you think is the biggest genre, grime or dubstep?
Grime.
Why?
The artists, the dubstep come from grime. That's it. Simple.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of dubstep producers will argue on that one, but that's not my place to argue because that's like whatever for me. But I will say, in terms of what's reaching a wider audience in this day and age, it's fucking dubstep, man. But I'll tell you what I think. The problem with me is that I just consider dubstep like a middle class version of grime, where it's like the middle class kids couldn't make grime because they wouldn't be seen as being authentic. So I guess they embraced dubstep, which is like a similar sort of sound, but just appeals to a different, similar kind of audience. But yeah.
To look at it, does America care about grime? Is it just the UK that cares about grime? And dubstep, it goes all over the world. Yeah. So
I'm just gonna stay quiet.
I just feel like it hasn't got in their ears yet. We can't just say that they don't like grime, because if you gave them a track, they might like it.
This is my thing though. This is my thing with grime, and see, I don't give a fuck about opinions. Whatever, that whole shit of like trying to impress Americans ain't for me. But if we are talking about that, I am gonna say that fuck you for it. I am gonna say that grime, because it's like the UK version of like road or gangster rap in America. Yeah. Americans don't want to hear British people talking about violence because they just think we're pussies. That's the perception Americans have of fucking English people. You know what I'm saying? So they don't want to hear kids from their state talking about bang, bang, bang. Even though kids from their state might be on a bang, bang thing for real, Americans just don't believe that. I mean, longevity, I don't know, only time will tell. But in terms of like the current climate, obviously dubstep artists or producers are kind of getting bigger recognition and they're getting paid for more. They're getting paid more for gigs and so forth. But I'm just saying, grime artists, man, a lot of you fucked up by jumping shit, or a lot of you fucked up by just not doing the music that you really care about. And hey, what can I say about that?
Like, I do slightly agree with my man. I don't think it has anything to do with so much a thing of people not caring about it. I think it's just, it hasn't reached people's ears for them to have an opinion on it yet. Whereas with dubstep, you got people like Skrillex who is flipping, selling out arenas, bro. With this
but how can you say it hasn't reached their ears? Like, they have an awareness. Now's a massive time for UK acts in America. So if they wanted to care about it, they would.
No, but
if they wanted to find it, they would.
I was in America for a month. All I heard was One Direction, Adele, Emily Sandé.
This is what I'm saying.
I didn't hear no one. None of you rappers out of gas and think you got better views. I didn't hear.
Yeah, but you was in the suburbs, though.
No, I weren't.
in the suburbs,
I travelled from LA to Chicago. I weren't.
Wait, aren't the people from the suburbs the people that are actually buying the records?
I was
If they wanted to hear it,
I went Southside
it's there
Chicago.
for them. It's there for them.
No, but it's
they can absorb it. They don't want to.
It's an unfair comparison because dubstep is obviously going to travel more easily because there's less lyrics, and it's not about that. It's about building up the crowd to a moment and then sending them erupting the crowd, right? Grime is about bars. It's about building excitement through what you say and the way you say it, which is a very kind of unique cultural thing to where we are right now. So it's kind of even almost unfair.
Murky's Dave made the sickest point because he's so right in the sense of when he was saying like dubstep now is all about, he was saying that basically it's almost unfair to kind of compare the two in terms of the way that the music is, because he was like, with dubstep, it's about like the build up and when it drops and everybody just goes ham, and it's kind of the same a little bit with grime, but you know what, like for whatever reason I just feel like maybe the way that the scene is working within the dubstep is working a lot better for international shit, and you know, like you've got these DJs touring the world playing all this type of music and whatnot, and you don't so much have it with grime, and I don't so much understand why. Maybe it's the fact that it's more lyrics based and not instrumental. I have no idea.
Because when we tour, we go France, dubstep's obviously going to go off. Do you know what I mean? Because or you go Germany, it's going to go off.
But for me, it's like,
because they're not going to understand what you're talking about, your pokey, whatever.
I agree.
They don't understand the basics.
But the grime still has an element of that as well, though, because when you listen to, like, if you go to certain certain events or whatever, yeah, you will hear like, I don't know, Maximum or whoever playing certain instrumental tunes. When it drops, it just pops right off. Right off.
But we're talking about the grime artist though. You know the one, like we're talking about the artists of grime. Like they're more vocal based as opposed to the artists of dubstep. A lot of them are just like production based. So it's like, yeah, I get what Dave is saying in that aspect. You know what I'm saying?
But Teddy, you obviously produce grime music, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you? Do you feel that grime has more of a reach than dubstep will, or do you feel more passionate about grime?
Dubstep's dying right now. There's nothing going on for dubstep. What was dubstep's last biggest tune?
Skrillex is now making dance, like real dance.
Yeah, but they've changed it up now. The whole old dubstep has changed now. It's like slightly hip hop now.
You got to see when you say like, see when you say a movement is dying. It's kind of, you got to think of what like perspective you're looking from. You know what I'm saying?
From the underground.
I felt like at a stage I was using a few grime artists to make their genre a bit bigger.
The mainstream is always going to be fickle because the mainstream like to latch on what they think the new music is, and that is always going to be a fad. So that's the problem with me. Like this, don't look at it from the mainstream point of view in terms of if it's dying. Is the culture still alive? And fucking yes, it is.
Yeah, grime, dubstep, grime. Nah, man, I love both sides, but at the end of the day, I've got to choose the culture that I love the best, which is grime. Grime is authentic, it has its own thing, and it can never be broken. It's just ours.
Like, Skrillex now is not even so much making dubstep music like that anymore. So that's in itself.
Yeah, Skrillex. He's playing house and techno.
What do we call the one that's did Skrillex do that tune with A$AP Rocky?
Yeah, Wild for the Night.
Dubstep?
Well, it's commercial
because
dubstep,
it's like a dubstep producer collaborating with a hip hop artist.
Yeah, but
so I guess like call it what you want.
I think, for me personally, as a fan, grime is my favourite genre out of both of them. But if you're looking at international scope, I think dubstep crosses a lot more boundaries and is able to hit that mainstream more than grime. I think grime's more of a UK orientated genre, whereas dubstep, you've got people like Skrillex, who's a dubstep DJ, making a tune with A$AP Rocky, Wild for the Night, and charting at like top 20 in the Billboard Top 100. So I think that just clearly shows that dubstep is much bigger than grime will ever be. Any grime artists in the UK, do you think they can ever be bigger than dubstep DJs?
Do you know what the interesting thing is? Right?
What about that?
Wait, Dizzy Rascal's probably...
Any grime artists, are they bigger than dubstep DJs?
Well, you got one artist right now.
What do you consider a grime artist, though? Like I've got a whole different perspective on what a grime artist compared to most people.
So who would you...
Because I look at grime as a culture all the time. I don't look at grime as a sound. I look at grime as the way you talk, the way you walk, how you conduct yourself.
How does a grime person
walk,
like, by the way?
Good
fucking question. Good question.
Do me right now a grime walk. How does it go right now? Right now. Give me a grime walk right now. Right now.
I'm finished. The biggest midget has spoken. What I'm saying, I just feel like
that's a good point.
Most of the people from this country are grime and they're totally unaware of it. The likes of Wretch is grime. Tiny, they're all grime. And what they're trying to do is venture into a world that doesn't really belong to them. So when you say, can a grime artist be bigger than a dubstep DJ? I believe, yeah, because them man are grime. Like I said, when I first...
doing grime.
No, the thing is, they do. See Wretch's first album, Black and White, yeah? Tractor, doesn't matter what anyone says to me, had strong elements of grime. Okay, and the moment he drifts away from that type of sound,
had element
to me,
of dancehall as well.
Of course it did, but it had an element of grime.
Right,
and even grime back in the day had elements of dancehall as well.
Are they still maintaining that to get their success?
No, that's the reason why everyone's not doing well. But the moment
I even feel like the way the way they're delivering on the songs, it's all grime. If you listen to their old grime tunes, they're delivering it on the same, like even when they're on Deja Vu, they're delivering it the same way.
Well, Wretch was always a rapper, but who's just more associated with the grime artist. That's how I saw Wretch for me.
When he was in the movement, he was going hard in the grime thing.
They're grime. They are grime. And the moment they start venturing into this ass world, they don't do as well, and it breaks my heart. Alright, my girlfriend's one of me. I love her a lot. Dubstep grime, I'm just saying grime is a culture, it's a lifestyle. I think people should embrace it in any walk of life in terms of music, and they can potentially do extremely well. That's what dubstep does, and it seems self-sustainable. It doesn't seem like they need labels or anything. I'm totally ignorant to the market, if I'm being totally honest with you, but it seems like it's doing extremely well, and I feel like grime can survive as well on its own. There's a lot of the people and a lot of founding fathers that were around the microphone at Heat FM and so on and so forth. Just remember that they're grime. Even if their song doesn't sound anything like grime, let your video have an element of grime in it. Let it be something where in which we're still like, yeah, you're one of us. If you try and venture too far out, I just feel like you potentially might not do well. That's my opinion. I could be totally wrong. I'm wearing a stupid hat, stupid plaits. I've got this stupid tattoo that says that this is a tattoo. But, you know, just judging on what I'm seeing, I don't think I'm too far from being wrong.
this is sometimes what gets to me a little bit, yeah, is that like sometimes an artist will come out, make an album that have a certain type of sound. They go travel the world, they get inspired by certain things or whatever, come back and make something a bit different, and everybody just starts to jump on their back talking about they sold out, they're not doing this.
Done that and done to
no, I'm not saying. No, I'm not saying.
I want you to name one
listen,
that is actually still signed.
No, listen. No, I'm not saying. I'm not challenging you on that.
No,
I'm not challenging you on that.
Everyone's getting dropped, you know.
No, listen. I'm saying that people. Listen, bro. I'm saying that sometimes people just travel and they just get inspired by certain things and they want to do something.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But yeah, dubstep I think is at the moment still, regardless of whether it's declining or not, bigger than grime internationally. But I actually think that at some stage, production-wise, grime could actually really do a lot of stuff internationally. We'll have to wait and see though.
But do you know what? I wish I could say names, but I'm only gonna get in trouble. So I'll be nice and calm. But you know, people are getting dropped.
But actually, the thing is that why do we still focus on getting dropped so much? Yeah.
Because that's what
no. I'm gonna say this now.
We're just talking about.
I'm gonna say this now.
Let him talk.
I'm gonna say this now. Yeah. Fuck record labels. Fuck major record labels. I'll tell you why. Right? Because if you understand business, you'll understand that a record deal is the worst kind of business you can do. Ask Paul McCartney, he will tell you that shit himself. Okay,
especially in this day and age.
I don't give a fuck about getting dropped.
So you're looking at it from the perspective of an artist that doesn't need to get it from the start, can just maintain by themselves. But I'm saying if you get signed and then get dropped, something went wrong. Am I lying?
No, because the thing is, all the label does.
Yeah, it's cool. Let the guy in, man. He's just a passerby.
What do you think about grime music?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah, basically we're asking a question. Do you prefer dubstep or do you prefer grime? Like, what do you think? What genre has more longevity?
Only answer if you're comfortable answering.
Yeah. What are you listening to now on your headphones?
Neither of the two.
But what do you think? Dubstep or grime? Seeing as you're walking past, have your 2 cents put in. What do you think's a better genre?
Well, personally, grime was the thing when I was younger and I was in secondary school and everyone used to listen to that.
Alright, now tell your Twitter and bounce. It's all good.
But when I was in college, dubstep came up and it was a big thing and everyone was hyped, and obviously people my age were a bit gassed and they were using drugs.
The real one. I was listening to Alexis Jordan.
Yeah, I think he was.
I just saw
Nicki Minaj was
There was this guy who was like on the guitar, watching YouTube.
Back to the point. Marcus was saying something.
Okay, the reason why I said that thing about major labels is because look at dubstep. Yeah, these guys have done. The reason why, like, it's a scene on its own. It doesn't need major labels to make it pop. And that is the problem. That is the problem with grime. Yeah, everyone's like, I want to get a deal.
No, you're not understanding where I'm coming from.
I think it's really an unfair comparison because dubstep it works in a different kind of way to grime, and so the vocal grime artists that are big have more visibility than a lot of the dubstep artists that are big.
What I'm saying, that's the point. No. Hear the point.
We can do it on our own.
I'm saying, I agree with you 100%. But my whole thing is this: if you have been signed and you get dropped, you're doing something wrong.
No. Wait. All right, cool. He says you are saying something wrong.
Recognized period, isn't it? I feel like a record label has it's like one big machine, and it's the strength to like every music you have. So if you make a good track, you will get noticed for the good track you have made. Period.
No. That's cool. Who thinks you are doing something wrong if you get dropped? Who thinks you are? Just you, yeah?
So wait, if you're told you're doing something right.
No.
One person speak at a time.
There's so many different variables into someone getting dropped. You can't blame it on one solid thing.
I feel like at the minute, grime is having a really bad time. I mean, we said out there already that a lot of grime artists they've been dropped. I don't want to say that the scene is dying. This is a hard one. I'm not really a dubstep fan like that, so I don't really know. What I do know about dubstep is that, as we said out there, is that, you know, you've got a lot of DJs who can go out there and just perform to a bunch of people. Like, we're talking hundreds and thousands of people. So I don't really know whether or not grime has grime artists really can do that, doing grime music. Obviously, you've got the Wileys, you've got the Tinys of this world, but they're not actually doing it with grime music. They're doing it with pop music. So, yeah, this was a hard one.
Who's been dropped?
We both know. We all know who's been dropped. So I'm saying,
no,
give me an example.
I'm not having it. Wait. Okay,
I'm not having it because
I can give you somebody that still I think deserves. Devlin. Devlin got dropped, and he's still his album did really well.
First album.
Yeah, his first album did
We're
really
not to get them
well.
a
Second
fix,
album
bro.
didn't do too great.
At all.
It didn't work. It didn't warrant a drop though. It didn't warrant a drop though. No.
From your perspective. From your
From
perspective.
my perspective.
If it was making money, it wouldn't have been dropped.
And then isn't he doing something wrong?
No, bro. I tell you what it is, man.
Have you got
Yeah, tell you what.
Then you're lying.
Hold
Don't try and impress your friends. Like you're lying. I know you're lying.
Can we actually question?
I bought both albums and I know he's done something wrong.
No, bro.
I know he's done. I'm a Devlin fan. I can tell you bars for days on Devlin. So the second album, if I don't like it and I'm fundamentally
so if you
the
don't
audience,
like it,
of course, because I'm the people that he was speaking to originally.
But you're one person.
Whatever, of course, and I represent a hell of a lot of people.
But can't we actually question this? Like, can't we actually question
mix
this?
this.
Are the labels actually doing well? Sometimes it's the
Exactly.
labels.
Exactly.
Sometimes it is the labels.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
Can I just say something, right? Labels treat artists like, say Walkers, yeah?
Products.
They will
Fucking
put
product.
out 10 new types of crisps a year, right? And do the same kind of, roughly the same kind of marketing technique with them 10 crisps. Whatever the two popping crisps are,
one
yeah,
or two will
they'll
stick.
carry on funding
One or two
those.
will
The
stick.
rest they drop. They don't give a fuck about us.
you
And
give
that's
products.
why, that's why we need to do things on our own,
agree.
have our own businesses,
And
have
no
our
one's not
own
saying
business
that.
guy.
And no one's not saying,
Fuck
I'm not saying
major
no way.
labels, man. I
But
don't
I'm
give a
saying
fuck.
if you went gold with your first album and you
I
didn't
agree
even
with
hit
that shit.
silver
Do you
second
know
time
what?
round,
Do you know what second
something
album's flop?
was wrong.
Do you know what second?
Something.
No, Bob. Do you know
Come
what?
on, something was wrong.
Bob, do you know what second album's
Something
flop?
was wrong.
Do you know what?
Something was wrong.
No.
Sometimes marketing. Sometimes marketing.
Okay. The marketing on the first album was not good. The marketing on the first album was not good. None of his songs went top 20, or maybe one. Second time around, he had a song that went number 5. And he still got dropped. So don't talk to me about marketing. That video was, they've invested like 40-something grand in it. So don't talk to me about
And that's
marketing.
probably why he got dropped.
That's part of the problem right there.
I know,
40
you're
grand on
not
the
giving me
fucking
no
video,
facts.
bruv. It's like,
Everyone's
yo.
giving
Nah,
me facts.
but
No,
second
it
album,
wasn't
yeah,
good.
the labels
It wasn't
always...
good. Okay, that's simple.
Okay, fine.
Why
Maybe
can't-
maybe
I
that
can't
particular,
think
maybe that
back to
particular
Don't
person.
beat around the bush. She's told the truth. The first album was sick.
No, but
His
bruv.
mixtapes, sick.
Yeah, but bruv, you're talking
The
about one
next album, I
particular
don't know what's
artist,
going
yeah.
on.
But
that's the
always
example- that's the
with
example I've been
sophomores, yeah, it's always the same. Labels kind of like give it a punt, see what it's gonna do, unless they really have that gut feeling that it's gonna smash. But look, how many people's second albums popped off?
Jay-Z.
Well, I'm talking about comparable artists. We're talking about grime versus
What
dubstep.
about artists around artists? So say Devlin's making his music,
Yeah.
but like your neighbour's not making great music and your other neighbour's not making great music. It's gonna make the situation difficult for you, because I feel like when there's a gap in the market, like you put out a tune, if your neighbour's not making great music, then the whole community listening to your music won't like feel the music in total.
I don't know about that. If you're running a race by yourself, you should win. I'm looking at it like if he's making great music and he's like doing what he's doing and he continuously does it.
But if there's like,
what's the problem?
if there's 5 great races, you're gonna want to watch that race. But if there's just one, it just gets boring. Grime obviously has more longevity. It's been here from day. Dubstep, I would always say, has come from grime. I've been at radio stations where dubstep DJs who are playing grime started playing dubstep. Obviously, dubstep has done bigger things than grime worldwide. But as you can see, One Extra have dropped the Daily Dose of Grime. Choice had a show. I bet you didn't even know that. Choice had a show, a grime show. They dropped that. And Scream and Bang aren't even playing dubstep on Radio 1. So yeah, dubstep's dying, man. Grime all the way.
The reason why, okay, look at dubstep, yeah. No one's even really talking about sales, yeah.
No,
but
not
these
at all.
guys are flying
But I'm
around the
ignorant
world.
to that, so I can't talk.
No, but these guys are flying around the world getting paid 10, 15 bags a show.
More than that.
Okay,
more than
because they've got a scene that, okay, it's kind of died off a bit now, but in electronic music in general has a scene where everyone looks after the music. They care about the quality of the music coming out.
That's
in
good.
grime, the problem is everybody wants to jump on this major label thing and
No,
live the life.
believe me,
Live the
I
life for
agree
2
with you,
years,
you know.
get Addison
But I
Lee for
agree
2
with
years,
you.
and then you get dropped.
No,
That's
right.
long, bro.
That's it.
That's what people want to do.
All right, so then
They
do you
wanna-
think,
yeah.
do you think grime artists have to resort to pop
in order to be a success.
They don't have to, but they are.
No,
That's what they thought they had to do.
problem.
That's what they thought they had to do. And obviously, once you get into a machine like the fucking labels, they don't give a fuck what culture you come from.
They
just see it as like, you know what worked before. What worked before. So they're just gonna try and use the same fucking model that worked before and use it on these new guys on the fucking conveyor belt, man.
If we're looking at what's longer lasting in the UK, then obviously it's going to be grime because the UK has a grime culture. And, you know, even though people want to argue with the whole dubstep coming from grime, etc. Yes, if you're looking at just the UK, grime's going to have longevity. If we're looking at it worldwide, then I think, you know, the rest of the world hasn't really adopted the grime culture the way that hopefully they will one day. So dubstep, of course. There's no grime DJs, I don't think, that are going around the world being paid thousands upon tens of thousands of pounds the way that dubstep DJs and producers are.
And also sometimes the labels come, take the artists and try and change things, and that's the reason. And that's the reason why a lot of the time, or most of the time, it doesn't work, because they go to a label, they have somebody who so much doesn't understand the culture like you do, and say, all right, cool, can we change this, make this up, do this, do that. Yeah. They put it out and it ultimately doesn't do well.
I'm not saying
that's not ultimately the artist's fault though. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's hand in hand. It's a part of the artist and it's part of the label.
Yeah. Maybe not, but it just seems like it's resulting in one thing. I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just all I'm fundamentally saying is that, I agree totally with you. If these artists really cared about their projects, even if they released an album which wasn't primarily them, they could just release a mixtape which is still for that core fan base, in which you can understand.
Is that
so,
fan
to me,
base
like Wiley,
money, though?
I'll pay money.
Yeah, but you would, but not everyone's like you.
But the Devlin fan base paid money for the first album. It went gold. But it went gold.
Yeah, but the UK fan base.
The second album didn't even go silver, to my understanding.
But sometimes,
something was wrong.
You're right, but sometimes it's just down to timing. Sometimes it's just down to timing.
I don't know.
Pull it out at a different time. You could have done a lot.
To me, the music that was coming out as well, I just didn't understand. To me, I didn't understand. I was like, what?
Can I just say, Devlin's second album was definitely not shit either.
I'm not saying it's not shit, but if you listen, I am a Devlin fan. Like I said, a Devlin fan.
So am I.
Not no Devlin fan from the last. I'm talking back in the days, Risky Rose. I'm talking like fucked back in the day. So I'm a Devlin fan, and I'm just saying that second album to me is not his best.
Was it bad enough for him to be dropped? Do you reckon?
Definitely not.
Probably not.
This is my problem.
But sales though. The sales.
That's what I'm saying. We all know when it comes down to fucking labels, who gives a shit whether your album is good or not. If the point is that it fucking sells, that's what they care about. So fuck that shit.
That's where the money is. And I didn't recommend it to anyone. If someone said to me, should I buy it? I wouldn't have said, yeah, go ahead.
Look. If you've done it once, if you sold a lot once, right, and then you put out something and then it doesn't sell so much the second time around, you can't just throw your toys out of the pram and say, oh, fuck it, then I'm just going to drop you then.
When it comes to labels,
you give it a third try.
No, it's a business.
And that's why change. Labels don't care.
That's what I'm saying. They don't give a fucking monkey.
Amount of money.
They don't give a fucking
monkey. You're going out.
The first time round, they could have thought, oh wow, he done sick. Let's put extra amount of money in for the second one, and then it could have just flopped. And then they thought,
we're not investing anymore. We're not putting any more money into this guy. You know what I'm saying? Because the return is not worth it. You know what I'm saying?
At the end of the day, labels don't.
I know Devlin's different.
Like a different type of bar.
But we're talking about two different things. We're not talking about whether he's good or not. We're talking about, is he viable for a record label fucking model? And probably not.
That's why he got dropped. Because labels don't give a fuck about us. Labels don't give a fuck about us, and we need to stop giving a fuck about labels.
Man, I've been saying
we need to have our own labels. Right? The only decent record label.
You need to balance the two. You need to balance the two. There's major record labels and there's independent record labels.
Exactly.
I feel like
you're your own record label in 2013.
I think independent record labels, they treat you like a bedroom. Whereas with major record labels, you can't even talk to the big man up there.
For me,
you can't make no request. They say this is how we want it or go away.
I'm on that cut. Everything is on you.
They treat you like a proper bedroom. In 2013, you're your own record label, man. Fuck.
What?
Turn to subscribe, man.
Why don't you tell them?
No, I think I listen to you more than me, so just turn to subscribe.
Teeth, look, you're always the one cursing, swearing, being the aggressive one. Why don't you tell them?
Look, you've got the whole mother nurturing personality of the group, so just tell them, please, it's just long.
All right, look, because my boy asked, I'm asking you guys, please.
You know what, fuck it. This is all bullshit, man. What the fuck was that? Look, just hit that subscribe button, get these debates to your feed, keep it simple. Thank you.
Don't ask me to do anything for you again.
It's fine.
Is that so wrong? Is that so wrong? strong, that we care. Look, we care.